So what's going on, everybody? It's JA. Salute to you for tuning in. Today, we're talking Adidas as they have a very big release coming up soon. Now, the reason that this release is so big is the entire future of this major collaboration is going to be riding on the success of this drop. And in my opinion, these sneakers are really dope. So stay tuned. We're going to touch on that here in a minute. But first, some quick updates. So major sneaker retailer JD Sports has just officially launched their latest program, which they're calling ReJD. So officially, what they're getting into is now reselling refurbished sneakers. So slightly worn, slightly used, maybe like a damaged box type of product. You guys know, for people that are more like in the budget friendly type of market, maybe you're looking for something more affordable. But I did actually check out the website, and just based off of the selection that they do offer, I would say it's pretty much completely trash. Nothing really that's enticing. I do appreciate the fact that some stuff is marked up like 40% off the MSRP price, but from what I see so far, I know the program is in its infancy stages, but not looking too enticing. And if I'm looking for something that's like slightly worn or at a discounted price, I'd rather just hit up like a local thrift shop or eBay or something like that. So we know currently Nike as well as New Balance, major sneaker brands, do offer refurbished services, but this will now be the first like major sneaker retailer chain which will now be offering refurbished shoes. So we'll see if other players follow suit, and of course it is in its infancy stages, but for now I kind of look at this as pointless. Now next up, we also have a release date for the highly anticipated Bricks and Woods New Balance collaboration, and I would say coming off the success of last year's 90-60 collaboration, a kind of sleeper low-key hit which garnered kind of like a cult following over time. I think a lot of people were checking for this release, including myself, but I would have to say I was slightly disappointed when I found out it would actually be a 1906 U model. And on top of that, I would say the colors weren't really like screaming to me personally, but it looks like Bricks and Woods founder Casey Lynch, he has actually responded to what seems to be some kind of like majority of negative criticism as far as this upcoming release, in which he tweeted out saying, our 90-60s were a hit and we understand that the market is a bit flooded, but I promise you, don't sleep on these. By far my favorite, one of the 3 collabs we've done with New Balance. So I could definitely agree. I would say most definitely the market is flooded as far as New Balance with the 1906 collaborations, but I guess he's trying to tell y'all, do not sleep on these joints right here, which I'm gonna be real, I'm kind of napping on these right now, but I'm sure once we get the storytelling and everything like that, hopefully everything will come together. And as far as this release, they are going to be dropping these in store coming up this weekend with a larger nationwide release, I guess, which will be coming up officially on the 18th. So stay tuned for these. And as far as Bricks and Woods New Balance collaborations, while this pair won't really be for me, I know they do have more in the tuck. So we'll see what's going on with them. And then lastly, Dot Swoosh. Yesterday they did officially drop the pre-orders for those Air Max 1 low polys or whatever they're calling them. You know, the release that was tied towards Kai Cenat. I would say as far as that brought a lot of interest. I think that Nike Kai Cenat partnership is starting to pay off. The big thing about this release though, of course, would be the fact that these did launch via pre-order. Now, when it comes to like the whole Web3 Dot Swoosh stuff, I mean, I'm gonna say like when NFTs and all that stuff was popping off years back, I really had no clue what was going on. I'm like kind of in my own little world and everything. So I have no clue about that stuff. But as far as the pre-orders, I did like that idea with when it comes to like hype releases. People have always been saying, you know, they would prefer to do pre-orders. That way it can ensure you in order to get a pair. Unfortunately though, you would have to wait, you know, a few months or whatever in order to receive the pair. So with these orders, which went live yesterday, it looked like the website did you know, encounter some technical difficulties. People were having trouble purchasing the sneaker. So if you waited a few hours, it looks like unfortunately, you know, you slept, because Nike did actually end all the pre-orders. So those that were persistent were able to get through, but it was kind of weird that they did offer pre-order services, but then they put a cap on the pre-order. So I think that kind of like defeats the whole purpose of the pre-orders or whatever, but it seems like Nike is still trying to like preserve the hype and resell on these shoes or whatever. So I understand them putting the cap on things like that. And originally I thought these were going to ship out like 4 weeks after the original drop, meaning I thought they were already produced, but apparently it's actually 4 months. So that means Nike can still have enough time to produce all of these pairs. Once people place the pre-orders and everything like that, they'll just have to wait for their shoes to arrive. So let me know if any of you guys copped the pre-order with the Nike Air Max 1 polys. Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of those, but I guess with like the limited availability, the co-sign and everything like that, it made people very enticed for this release. And with those quick updates out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into our main story, which yesterday, Complex, they dropped this super dope video with Jerry Lorenzo, a very candid interview, essentially like an hour-long video, which I didn't have time to watch the entire thing. I kind of jumped in around the halfway mark, but I definitely highly encourage you guys to check it out, man. It really made me a big fan of Jerry. I just feel like he's super humble right now. It was really cool to hear like how he manages everything like that, and it was just very insightful. Really great to hear about his relationship with God and just like the struggles, you know, throughout his entire career. So really made me like him, and kind of made me, as far as like reserving judgment upon the fear of God stuff, you know, kind of made me like take a seat back and really just look at everything from a bigger perspective. But I think the most important thing, I guess, for this audience would be the Fear of God Athletics collaboration, which Jerry Lorenzo did admit things were a bit underwhelming. He did kind of blame it on the fact that as far as when he signed up with Adidas, essentially right after signing the contract, they made a big announcement, but they had no product yet. So then he had to get to work, and by the time they officially dropped everything, it seemed like the anticipation was just too crazy that nothing was going to really live up to the hype. And when you compare that to his Nike partnership, which was just a few years before that, they actually took like 2 years plus to develop the product. They then made the announcement, and everything was a lot more smooth. So you guys could definitely see the difference with how the two collaborations launched and essentially how the people in public responded to things. So as far as what's going on right now, I think it was really cool to say that he said that the Basketball One model, a model that I actually have right here, which I think these joints look really dope. What he did say though about this model is that they didn't live up to the promise, as this was promised to be a performance model. And while it has a great shape, these joints are beautiful looking and everything like that, essentially, you know, they didn't really deliver what they promised. And he said with the upcoming Basketball 2 or the 2, whatever they're calling it, that one essentially will be delivering up to that performance basketball model that they promised. And he gave us a little slight preview of these joints, which to me, just off that little glance, once you get behind that nail polish on Jerry Lorenzo's fingers, these joints right here go absolutely crazy in my opinion. I feel like these are super dope. From the look that we got here, it seems like we may have 2 versions of these, which I think kind of like derived from those samples that we saw previously, but now you see the shape is a lot more refined. These joints right here to me look really nice, and of course you do see the Adidas branding in here on the upper, which off the first glance I couldn't really think of what this shoe reminded me of, but now that I had a couple of minutes to think about it, these remind me of those Yeezy 650 samples that were floating around, in which I hate the fact that anytime somebody drops a new Adidas product, everybody's going to compare them to Yeezys. But again, it is more organic due to the fact that Jerry Lorenzo worked with Ye and Yeezy like on the early days all the way up to Yeezy season 3. So I would say it's not really a knockoff, but they have a similar design language. So I'm feeling these 2 models right here, but as far as the release schedule and everything like that, I want to say these are probably going to drop like sometime around the holiday season. Now I did go to social media to see some of the responses. I thought this shoe was really dope, but unfortunately it seems like all I'm seeing is just negative feedback, you know, as far as this pair right here. And Jerry even said the success of this release is kind of like, you know, determining the future of the Adidas Fear of God collaboration, which he said he's only signed on till 2025, and from there he's really unsure of the future. So while I would love to say that these joints are going to be successful, it's going to be a redemption for Jerry to get back on top with Fear of God Athletics, honestly the real like outcome of what I think is going to happen is that, of course, just like we've seen with all the Fear of God drops, once they come out, I think it's really only going to cater to the purists and people that are more like into experimental design, more quality product and everything like that. And just the majority of people are going to just, you know, write these off, and I could see things pretty much ending as far as 2025 goes. So as far as the Adidas Fear of God collaboration, I would say the future isn't looking too bright, but I would say I'm a fan of the product that we've seen so far. So let me know what you guys think about these new Fear of God basketball sneakers. Do you feel like this could be potentially Jerry's redemption arc in a way, maybe to turn around and change the narrative of this Fear of God Athletics collaboration, which has started off on a rocky start? So we'll see what happens. I'm expecting these to possibly launch this coming holiday season. So let me know what y'all think down below. Drop your feedback, and as I mentioned previously, you guys got to check out the entire interview, which I'm about to watch from the start right now. So that's it for today, guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you made it all the way through the end, I appreciate you, and let me know about dropping a salute down below. So I'm JA. Of course, I'll be checking in with you guys tomorrow, hopefully, if everything goes smooth with this hurricane and all that. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'm out, y'all. Love.
So I won't tell you that.